Hey everyone, and welcome to Popcorn Dogs. The password is Fidelio if you wanted to come in, and there will be no weird sex on this podcast.
I'm surprised you didn't ask me a house password today.
That would have made sense. This is the first podcast we are recording in the new house.
Yeah, it is a 450,000 square foot mansion overlooking both a desert and a lake.
We have Venetian masks, plague doctor masks. There is a blindfolded pianist, and I might have him killed later.
We'll see how the night goes.
My name is Brad, and I am a pretty big Stanley Kubrick fan.
My name is Tyler, and I am also a pretty big fan.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and just say on the scale of big fans, Tyler is a big fan. I am in another level above that.
You have an entire arm dedicated to him.
My arm is tattooed completely with him. There's my Eyes Wide Shut tattoo. It's got the lady's mask, and it's got Tom Cruise's mask with Christmas lights pulling them together.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah. I'm a pretty big fan. So we're doing this podcast because, Tyler, your mom wanted us to.
Yeah, we were asking for suggestions. My mom loves popcorn dogs, and she out of nowhere said Eyes Wide Shut. She knows I like Kubrick, though, and I think she was kind of playing to my interest a little bit. Plus, she loves Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, and I think she just watched it recently.
So we're talking about a film whose themes are infidelity, sexual frustration, fractured male ego, sexual desires, because of your mom.
Yep.
Well, I guess. I mean, Freud is like taking a big drag of his cigarette right now. Oh, yeah, you are. Eyes Wide Shut. I didn't watch it to get ready for this podcast because I have seen it about 30 times. It is burned into my brain. I don't even need to. It's kind of that memorized, but I did do a fair amount of just rereading stuff and getting situated. We do have one special beer we're going to drink for this. This is sent to us from Ryan from Austin, Texas. It's a collaboration with the Pink Boots Brew Day. That's a bunch of lady brewers that get together, but it is from our friends at Blue Owl Brewing, and it's called Smash Smash, which would be appropriate for an Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what's funny is Tom Cruise has a lot of trouble smashing.
Dude, he couldn't smash if his life depended on it.
Dude, well, and then he's ready to smash, and as soon as he is, nobody wants to smash.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? But yeah, this is a sour mash IPA from just Blue Owl Brewing, you know. A wonderful.
Blue Owl is quickly becoming one of my favorite breweries.
And luckily, Ryan likes to send it to us. So this one goes to Ryan. Thank you, Ryan.
I tell everybody I know now when they're going to Texas to check out Blue Owl.
I tell them, call Ryan.
Find Ryan.
Oh, yeah. I love sour beers.
Dude, I don't know how they do that, man. Their sours are just like, they're like the perfect level of tart.
Yeah.
But it's actually got like that, it's almost like a wine sour to it. It's not like artificial sour like.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. It's bright, it's tart, it's fresh, it doesn't hurt my mouth. And it's also an IPA. It's got like a nice hoppy backbone to it. Good stuff.
They make my favorite sours of all time. I think I got to say it. So good.
What is your experience with Eyes Wide Shut, Tyler?
Well,
I'm just deflecting because I need to get worked up for a movie like this.
Eyes Wide Shut was one of the last films by Kubrick that I watched.
It is actually the last film by Kubrick. He died before it was released.
When I watched it as a kid, because it came out, 1999 maybe?
Yes. Summer of 1999.
I think I watched it.
It's a summer film.
When I was in like second or third grade.
Oh, fun.
My dad was watching it, and I just happened to be like laying on the couch. And I remember thinking like, this is a super horny movie. And I didn't understand anything. And then I watched it in film school again. And then I got real pretentious with it. And then I watched it last night, and I just was like, this is just a good movie.
Yeah. There is as much discussion regarding Eyes Wide Shut being, this is theories about how Kubrick knew about the Illuminati.
I think that's crazy.
Here's a 20-minute video based on one lens flare that happened. And they do that. And Kubrick and crackpots, unfortunately, go hand in hand. Eyes Wide Shut gets a lot of that. Not as much as The Shining, but Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. I don't remember the first time I saw it.
I think after Kate Winslet in Titanic, this was the second time I'd ever seen boobies on a TV screen.
Whoa.
When I probably shouldn't have.
Eyes Wide Shut. We'll start talking about it. Let me pull up my outline here. So this was released summer 1999. Development began in 1968.
Yeah. When I saw a clip of him when he was making Clockwork. He mentioned the German novella that he wanted to adapt.
Traumnovelle.
No.
Yeah. He was looking to follow up 2001: A Space Odyssey with this. He bought the rights to Traumnovelle, also known as Rhapsody, a Dream Novel. It's a novelle from 1926 set in early 20th century Vienna during Mardi Gras. The story, very similar. Sexually frustrated male whose inability to properly express himself. His wife expresses that she is, at some points, had desires for other people, and his ego's like, dude, I don't believe or trust anything. I'm going to fuck the first thing that happens. As only a young man would think. Kubrick describes the book as a difficult book to describe. What good book isn't? It explores the sexual ambivalence of a happy marriage and tries to equate the importance of sexual dreams and might-have-beens with reality. For the following decade, he considered to make it a sex comedy film. At one point, he wanted to make it with Steve Martin in the lead role as more of an overt comedy.
Oh, that would have been weird.
It would have been fucking good. Kubrick's films are all comedic. They're all like super light satire, though. So it's possible if you're not picking up on the satire, you miss, like, if you fall through it, you don't even need it for a lot of things. But Barry Lyndon is a very funny movie. They're in it's the comedy just lightly sprinkled in there, just like dark little satire. And I could see Steve Martin. I mean, imagine him going into like a Russian costume shop and some girl is trying to get banged by two old Asian dudes. Like, there's comedy there.
Yeah, and Steve Martin's going to find it.
Shut up, you depraved creature. Yes.
It's just Dana Carvey and Chevy Chase are the two Asian guys.
It's a very funny film. Alan Cumming as the extremely gay hotel clerk. Bill. Yeah, there's a lot of comedy to it. So he was considering doing it along those lines, but he also considered Woody Allen in the role. Project was revived in 1994 when Kubrick hired Frederick Raphael to work on the script. Raphael would write a memoir of the collaboration titled Eyes Wide Open. He released this after the film was out for a week. And he hates Kubrick.
Hates him.
Today I listened to 3 podcasts about interviews. One of them was with the woman who is naked in Ziegler's room upstairs that dies. One of them was with the set decorator who was living in New York and found like garbage cans to send to him. And another was the choreographer who did the orgy stuff. All fascinating. So, I don't know where I was going with that. No, but okay. So people that work with Kubrick, they all immediately get really wistful and reminiscing. They're like, how was Stanley? Like, oh, how wasn't he? You know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting how everybody talks like it was one of the most special relationships they had, for better or for worse. Intense guy, he'd call it 2 or 3 in the morning and ask like, why is this newsprint at 1/8 of an inch off? It's like, I don't know, dude.
I'm trying to sleep here. I think it's one of those things where, especially at this point in his career, you know, he's proven himself. He's a genius when it comes to cinematic adventures. And I think his reputation precedes him. So a lot of people working with him, even if it's working with him for the first time, especially, are going to be very wistful and reminiscing, even if it was a terrible experience, because, I mean, look at what he did to Shelley Duvall. And it's almost like a badge. She wore that like a badge of honor at a certain point.
She also said she would definitely work with him again and treasured the experience.
When you're working with a genius, you are willing to put up with a lot of shit.
He was a little more aggressive with Shelley because he wanted to get that performance out of her. I've seen much worse directors do much worse things, but the problem is Kubrick shoots for like 2 years at a time, so that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, but his career, he started off making films fairly quickly on his scale. You know, Space Odyssey and The Clockwork Orange are 3 years apart, and then you have Barry Lyndon, I think that was 75, Shining 1980, Full Metal Jacket 1989. He kept getting further apart. Like 9 years between films is a long time. So after Full Metal Jacket, there was a couple of things he was working on. One of them was the Aryan Papers, which was based on a book called Wartime Lies. It would have been his World War II, Holocaust.
Wasn't there a Napoleon film somewhere?
You've seen the big book I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to make that after A Clockwork Orange, but there was another filmmaker who made a Napoleon film that didn't do well, and the studio's like, no, we're not doing that. But it's Kubrick. He should have been able to do what he wants. But so he was thinking about doing that. He got too fucking depressed learning about not even learning, but just like absorbing the Holocaust. And he wanted to make AI, which eventually would get made by Spielberg. And Eyes Wide Shut is a movie he wanted to make for a very long time. So we started doing the adaptation with Frederick Raphael. A lot of references to Jewishness were removed from the characters in the book. Kubrick didn't want that baggage associated with the character. They probably he would have to read a million articles like, in Kubrick's Jewishness is showing through here, which you don't want that. No. There's all these little anecdotes people say. I don't know. They're probably true, but they're said to death. He wanted a Harrison Ford type character, so that's why his name is Harford, Bill Harford, Harrison Ford. I don't know if that's one of those things.
If that's even true.
I'm even tired of hearing that trivia. You should have been there for when Dylan and I did Shigeru Miyamoto's biography. That one was ridiculous. He's like, dude, I heard this on 50 podcasts this year. The adaptation did create one new character with Ziegler, who represents high wealth and prestige. And the cast we have, at the time, real-life married couple, Tom Cruise as Bill Harford and Nicole Kidman as Alice Harford.
I forget that they were married for this movie. I always, for some reason, think they met on this movie.
This movie, some people would say that it's one of the things that broke them up. I would say it's probably Scientology.
Probably.
A little bit. Yeah, they were married, though.
I would say Scientology over the film. Easily. Scientology's weird as fuck.
It was a long film, though. They filmed for a long time. It has the Guinness World Records for the longest shoot.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know that.
The date's written down here a little bit, but he wanted a married couple. He wanted there to be that weird extra baggage happening there.
That's psychotic.
Well, it really limits who you can get.
I know. It's psychotic. He's looking at Hollywood. He's like, I want an actual couple for this.
Well, and he also wanted an actor who is like machismo. He wants, a Harrison Ford type.
I think it's great that... So, I remember in one of the previous times I watched this, not last night, but one of the previous times, I hated Tom Cruise in the role. Hated it. I did not like his acting. It's Tom fucking Cruise, and it's hard to see anything other than Tom Cruise.
He doesn't do a lot of acting.
No, that's what I kind of came around to the second time when I watched it with like fresh eyes.
Yeah.
My eyes were wide open on this watch.
Hey.
Yeah. And what you say about picking somebody with machismo, like you picked somebody in Hollywood who's got like got the balls, he's got Hollywood by the balls at this point. And then the film is largely about emasculating this man over and over and over and tearing down his ego a little bit.
Yeah. When he was meeting Tom Cruise is actually in England, and he says, oh yeah, I can fly over there in like an hour. And Tom Cruise flew his own helicopter over to Kubrick's place, which is kind of crazy. We'll get into the roles as they pop up, but the film was shot by Larry Smith, mostly by Kubrick, I'm sure. The crew, they're all great. They began shooting in November 1996, filming wrapped in June 1998. So yeah, it's a year and a half. The Guinness World Records, the longest constant movie shoot for over 15 months.
Damn.
A period that included an unbroken shoot of 46 weeks.
Damn.
Harvey Keitel was originally Victor Ziegler.
I could see that.
And he was there, and he's only ever said something about it in like one interview where he's like, I felt disrespected. Kubrick's a genius. I didn't like the way he was talking to me. And I was like, yeah, that checks out both ways there. Yeah. That's kind of an interesting thing. All of the exterior New York scenes where Cruise is walking around, that's filmed in England. They recreated the whole street.
You probably used a backlot, right? Like those aren't real streets.
Yes. But the set decorator I was listening to, her job was to go around New York and collect New York things like garbage cans, newspaper boxes. He had like a shipping container on the East Village.
Like mailboxes. There's so many mailboxes. I noticed that because I love Kubrick's, I love his shot selection all the time. And his set design for New York City walking down the street is, I think in this, it looks so purposeful.
Yeah.
Like I could tell that this was like, this is a backlot. This is not a real street. Like Kubrick made this the way he wanted it to look, because you can just tell. Like, and it's got placement of everything.
It's got dream logic, so that kind of works too. Like all of the storefronts are different references to people he's worked with in his life, or actors, family members. It's all based on a lot of his stuff, and it's dream logic. So fuck it, anything goes with. It doesn't need to feel like real New York. It has to make you feel like New York.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
And I think they nail that, because it does feel like it feels a little seedy, more so than like an average New York City shot would be, especially a doctor who's like probably traveling around Manhattan.
Yeah. Yep.
It seems seedy, like it's kind of taking on, the city kind of takes on his frustration with him. He's like, you know what? I got to go get fucking laid because my wife's getting laid in her dreams, and I'm not.
One time, my wife thought about another dude. What?
Destroyed me emotionally and physically.
Am I not a man?
So, yeah, what I did is I traveled around the seediest part of the city.
I immediately found a prostitute.
And I did not do anything with that woman.
I got cold feet.
Yeah, it's hard. I wasn't.
Even though I was that hottie from Hocus Pocus.
You think it would help, but no. Performance anxiety happens to 1 out of 3 men I found that night.
So, the film was being touted. I mean, Kubrick died before it was released.
Which is just going to add a level of mystique to it, too. Like,
that fucking, man, YouTube videos and crazy conspiracy theories. They killed him, dude. They didn't want it out.
Oh, my God.
They changed it after he died, dude. It's true. He did die after he just made, like, a final cut. He was ready to show actors and some studio people, which usually means Kubrick would do a fair amount of extra work afterwards. He got it to a point he was comfortable to show it, but The Shining was released and he removed the ending from it like a day or two later.
Yeah, that's true.
So invariably the film would have changed. It would have been maybe cut down a little bit. Music would be different in different spots, but no one killed him. He probably just worked himself to death. I'm surprised he lived that long. Honestly, I don't know how Scorsese does it, man. If he closes his eyes, people need to keep an eye on him.
I think he just did so much coke in the 70s and 80s that he's just eternally like still riding that coke high.
On it, yeah,
he's still coasting on that.
He did so much.
Yeah, when he was filming that musical, dude, they ran out of coke.
I've never seen a musical.
It's
New York,
The Last Waltz, right?
No, okay, that's a concert movie.
That's what I meant, like not an actual musical.
He made a musical though with Robert De Niro.
What?
I haven't seen it.
I have never even heard of it.
Yeah. And like Liza Minnelli, I think.
I would probably watch it then.
Yeah. But so Kubrick passed away, but the film was being, like the trailer has Chris Isaacs, they did a bad thing. And it's just got like them kissing and like flirty looks at people. And like everyone's like, this is going to be the sexiest, craziest movie ever. And it's not. It is not a film that is titillating. It is not making you like ready to go. It's about confronting, all of your insecurities. It's about long-term relationships and taking people for granted and the masks we wear. It's about a lot of things. So the opening of the film, to prepare the audience, one of the first things that happens is Nicole Kidman just takes her shirt, like gets completely naked. Is like the first shot.
Sets the tone.
Yes.
And
it's like, all right. You can put your dicks down now. You already saw it. Now we can watch a movie.
Yeah, we're getting that out of the way. Because when I first watched it, I thought this was a horny movie, and it is a horny movie, but it's not a
Titillating.
Titillating is like you said. It's not a titillating.
It's not a
movie.
boobilating film.
No. Are you going to see plenty of boobs and maybe some booties?
Quite a few.
You're going to see quite a bit.
No dong.
No dong.
Studios will never let you hang a dong.
And that's why they killed him. He showed too much dong, and the studios were like, we can't have this.
Dude, remember in Game of Thrones when Hodor had fake dong?
Nah, that's all him, man.
No, it isn't.
No, it can't be.
No. That dude was wearing like a fucking sleeve of a starter jacket. But the first line of the film, see, I could do this with the whole film, just go line by line, but Tom Cruise is looking, he asks his wife, he's like, honey, have you seen my wallet? She's on the toilet, they're getting ready for a party. Quickly establishes just little things like, where's my wallet? It's her job. It's her role to like know where things are in the house, and she knows where his money is. And then she asks, how do I look? He doesn't look at her at all. He's like, you look great. She's like, you're not even looking at him. He's like, you always look beautiful. And you can just tell like he's not paying any attention to her anymore. He's very secure in, I'm a doctor and I'm this man, and she just wants like to be looked at in the eye and a little validation. It goes a long way.
Very common thing that happens with a lot of long-term relationships too. We're not seeing anything here that is like shocking. Like
It's common.
Yeah, I mean, sustaining a long relationship is difficult.
Yeah.
And when you have high-pressure jobs like this, like a doctor, sometimes people become like focused on their work, and this is an easy path to find yourself traveling down.
Yeah, and he might be a little worked up too, because he's not just a doctor. He's a doctor that does house calls for the elite.
Yeah.
So he gets invited to the parties. He is, to me though, he's more of at the level of the prostitutes, or like in the orgy, prostitutes might not be the right word, the courtesans.
Yeah.
He may believe he is with the elite. No, he works for them. And it's made very apparent at the party where he's interrupted. He's like, Ziegler needs you upstairs. I know you're at a party and you're hanging out, but yeah, you got to come.
He's got two beautiful women hanging off his arm, and they're trying to seduce him to the end of the rainbow. And then some guy's like, yo, we got to go.
Yeah.
And then he leaves. Would he? I think at this point, I don't think he necessarily would have done anything.
See, Kubrick's smart in that he doesn't show us. I think you're right, 100% right. He's not a guy that cheats, but he is very much a man that likes to be flirted with. He likes flirting back.
He likes the attention for sure. And he
likes that both of them are 5 feet tall because he doesn't have to look up at them. Sorry.
He's got apple boxes taped to his feet at this point.
But that's why they couldn't do it in just like a full screen or TikTok format, because it would look horrible. They had to go widescreen.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's the getting flirted with by the girls, I think, is no different than the need for him to be at these parties in case anything happens from the elites, because it gives him his sense of worth is where he's valued with people. And when Nicole Kidman lets him know about the fantasy, that's going to break his idea of himself, his value.
Because she just wants a man that treats her a little bit with respect, makes her feel pretty. Oh, she wants many things. I'm not trying to say that's all women want.
Yeah.
There's a whole argument they're going to get into about that. But yeah, so she gets to the party and he's like, I'm going to go over here for a second. And the first thing she does, they like kiss and say, all right, see ya. Which, that's a weird way to go to a party. First thing she does is grab the first glass of champagne, downs it. She's there to fucking booze.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And she finds a Hungarian, Sander Savos. And you know what he does? Unbroken eye contact.
Entire time.
Whole time. He says he loves the period, which, see, that's one of those lines. He likes not pregnant women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I adore it. He's like a SNL character played by Pedro Pascal.
His voice reminds me of like Nosferatu sometimes when I was rewatching it, like Bill Skarsgård's Nosferatu.
Yeah.
You're right, though. Maintains eye contact the entire time. And this scene feels oddly super sexually charged without being overtly sexual at all.
This is some of the most sexually charged content in the film.
And it's a good way that they correlate it is with the distance between them the entire time they're dancing. Like he'll move in closer as he says something, and Nicole Kidman lingers there for a second because now she's getting a little bit of attention that is making her feel good, but she's also loyal and faithful to her husband, and she'll like kind of back out a little bit. It's like a small little dance that they play.
And she loves the attention. And Tom Cruise loves the attention. His job, though, requires him to go upstairs to find Victor Ziegler, his friend, who was actually...
she's a prostitute, right?
Well, and she... Mandy's her name. We find out in the news article that flashes briefly on screen, she was like an ex-Miss America or something like that. And she's fallen on hard times. And it says she was working with, like, the Leon Vitali, whatever... when she dies, they talk about the overdose there. So she is someone that would be noticed by the elite as a beautiful woman, so naturally swallowed up by them. And she's up there doing, what is it, highballs?
8 balls.
8 ball, whatever.
8 ball. Heroin and coke, right?
I don't know.
Speedballs.
Speedball. Yeah, and Tom Cruise, he's very good at the doctor speech. Mandy, listen to me, Mandy. Open your eyes, Mandy. And the problem is when he starts talking to his wife like that, he starts like diagnosing her. You do not, Tom Cruise.
Mistake.
Yeah. And then they go home and they fuck that night.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're making love, she's looking in the mirror, feeling insecure about stuff. So, next day they go about their business, and the next night, they smoke some marijuana. I'm not a stickler for details, but she has the weakest hit I've ever seen.
I hate it when people smoke in movies and they don't do it right.
There's no smoke coming out. And she blows like, there's no smoke coming out.
Yeah, unless she just like housed it for so long she absorbed it all. I've seen people do that, take massive hits and then hold it and then nothing comes out. You're like, dude, you just got like 9 years of tar in your lungs for that bad boy.
What if she busted out like a 3-foot bong and just like scold it?
She's like, can you grab some ice for the percolator?
And they have what becomes an honest conversation. I don't know. She just asks about who were those 2 girls you were talking to. Like, I don't know.
Oh, honey.
Couple of models. And she's just trying to kind of express herself. Say that, like, what was going on at the party? Like, where did you disappear to for so long? And he just says a lot of wrong things. And as a younger man, I'm like, she's just attacking him for no reason. As someone who is now married, I'm like, no, it's like rewatching Breaking Bad. I'm like, wow, Skyler was right the entire time.
Yeah.
Walter's a monster. Yeah, and she's like, why is it, what's wrong with me talking to a man or something like that? And he says, well, we all know how men can be. And she says, so according to your logic, I guess you wanted to fuck those 2 models. And he just keeps digging a fucking hole, man.
Yeah, I mean, he sets himself up for an absolute poster here. Like, she's coming down the court, prime LeBron, full speed, directly at him. Like, he's going to end up on a poster.
And yeah, he keeps trying to, like, that's how men are, except me. And I wouldn't do that because I love you. And she's like, so you wouldn't have sex with them just out of consideration for me? And
it's weird, too, because
it's a good, like, kind of inebriated fight.
Yes. And it's almost like the only thing keeping him secure in his marriage is the fact that he believes that his wife is 100% loyal. Because
he's never second guessed it.
Yeah, because of his ego and his false sense of value to the people around him that value him. And that one of which being her, probably most important before the film starts. And then as this conversation goes on and he hears about the dream, the fantasy, it's going to shatter his value of himself.
Yeah.
Shatter the value of the relationship, secondly. And I do like how he just kind of like, this fight seems like it's about to like just fucking pop off. Especially when he's sitting on the bed and he just doesn't really say much after she brings it up. And he's kind of lost in thought. And then the fucking phone rings and ends the scene early.
Yeah.
But
ends the discussion early.
And it's a it's an instance in the film where he could have done a lot of worse things. I feel like he's constantly interrupted as the film goes on before making a big mistake.
It's kind of, not to relate it to Breaking Bad again, but the fact that like Walter's first murder is taken out of his hands, it's kind of similar with Tom Cruise. The decision, or with Bill Harford, the decision's taken out of the character's hands in a lot of those instances. And yeah, she expresses that, she just mentions one time she had an intense sexual desire for one man who just walked by, just a passing glance. And we are man apes, animal creatures with sexual desires. There's like, you can't deny that. And if Tom, I'm gonna quit. I should quit calling him Tom Cruise. If Bill Harford thinks that his wife does not have strange sexual desires, like, she's a human, you need to acknowledge she's a human, and you can acknowledge it too. He always just tries to doctor his way out of things.
Yeah,
and he's not that good of a doctor. Well, maybe his doctor self. I don't like his bedside manner. I did want to mention one thing at the party. Victor Ziegler's like mentioning some like great whiskey. He's like, "I'll get you a bottle." And Tom Cruise, though, is not a whiskey guy. He comes home, he puts his Ugg boots on, and he drinks a beer. Did you notice his boots?
No.
He's wearing straight up Ugg boots, but I think, yeah, he's a beer man. He's just another layer of, he's not in the...
A difference between the societal hierarchy. He's a beer, they're whiskey.
See, that's a problem with these Kubrick films. I just want to say so much about them.
I mean, there's a lot you can dissect to it.
But yes, there is the phone call, which breaks up their conversation. And immediately, this is when the dream logic starts. Because what does he run into except the dollar store knockoffs of him and Nicole Kidman? The woman who's... literally what Nicole Kidman's character, Alice, just said is, I would throw away everything in a heartbeat just for one night with that guy. The very next woman he talks to, I would throw away my future with him to be with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Seeing the mirrored...
It's so comedic.
Seeing the mirrored representation of his marriage and this time being on the outside looking in. Also, I found it hilarious that fake Bill in this scenario is much taller than regular Bill. That made me laugh real hard. So it is a comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really notice that when I was in film school, and probably because I was super stoned and probably talking like, did you see the lighting in that last scene? It was actually, I think it was a 500 watt, like some crazy shit that I was probably trying to impress some girl.
You were on one.
Yeah. This time around, immediately I'm like, oh, we might be dreaming here. It was like watching it with very fresh. It was a very fresh rewatch.
She kisses him too. She just like straight up invades his frame a little bit.
And I think with his distorted value of himself now moving forward, that constantly gets chipped away at and questioned as the film is going to go forward now that we're in the dreamscape portion of it.
Yeah.
The fantasy of the first woman you meeting throwing herself at you, it just feels like like an immediate, not cry for help, but like a defense mechanism.
Well, and it's the dream logic of the problem immediately beset our character Bill is the very next woman he runs into with the same like innate, unexplainable, intense sexual desire that you have for someone you don't know. Essentially a stranger. He even says like, I don't think we've ever talked about anything other than your dad. And she's like, I know.
And I also felt like it kind of further compounded like this weird realization that he thinks he's having in women's sexuality, where the next girl, like her dad is like dying and sick and he's
dead.
Yeah. But like, instead of dealing with that, her main goal is to sleep with him.
Yeah. Well, her feelings are all wound up. He's also still stoned probably, which is another layer of like shit.
I think it's just, and the fact that she looks exactly like his wife, like the manifestation of like what my wife just told me and applies to the very next girl is weird.
Dude, he's just like, rather than addressing the issues of I should just talk to my wife about this, he's doing everything else. And my dude, you're fucking up. Okay, so he gets out of the situation, and then he runs into Vanessa Shaw, who's playing Domino. You might recognize her as the teenage love interest from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
She's also in the Hills Have Eyes remake.
The one, oh, she is. Yeah, that's right, she is.
I hope you cringed because you remember what happened to the character.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It's a great movie. I should not have watched it at the age that I watched it.
We're having a moratorium on scary moving into new house horror movies for a while.
Yeah, you gotta.
It wouldn't be good for Carly. I'd love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes up to Domino's apartment.
Love her hat. Also, if we're bringing back vintage fashion, ladies, start wearing those hats.
You like that?
I
That
like
did something for you?
The big bucket fur hat. I kind of dig it.
Yeah.
I don't know what about it, but I liked it a lot.
So Bill also just like repeats phrases that are said to him. He doesn't know how to say like, I want it in the butt. He could just say like, I don't know, some just boring missionary. I want to go ass to mouth with my mouth. He could say these things. And instead he's like, what do you recommend? It's like, I don't know. He has no agency or ability to like own the situation.
Have you heard of pegging? Sorry.
I saw this one time. It was on a website. I'm going to pull apart my butt cheeks now.
We're going to.
I love the shot of, it's like an extreme close-up of a side profile of Bill's face, and Domino comes in and gives him a kiss, like that piano music playing. It's a sumptuous film.
Yeah.
The lighting in this movie, it's so many Christmas lights, so many like white gold lights, a lot of like warm, those like ball lights you see on tables, Chinese lanterns. It's all just like sumptuous. It's a very rich film.
It's a lot of how I decorate my apartments, honestly. Like I like to have a lot of different light sources in any room with different colored bulbs.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's a good look.
To just kind of change up the vibe for what I'm like going for. And the entire time I was watching this film, as an adult man now who's owned many apartments,
yeah,
I'm like, you know what? I think I've always been kind of chasing this dragon.
And you embraced it.
I embraced it, yeah. I remember this scene because like we've stated before, it's not exactly titillating, but it's ultra sexual with the like implication that like, all right, his wife cheated on him in a dream.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even.
She didn't even cheat on him. She had one desire,
feeling.
And she expressed it honestly with a partner she trusts.
And he's like, I'm going to fuck a prostitute, is his immediate response.
Guess I'm going to fuck a prostitute now. It's like, Tommy, my boy, my Bill.
I guess I'm going to blow up this relationship.
She calls in the middle of the tryst. And so he gets cold feet. Guess I'm going to go. But immediately he starts having those like thoughts. They keep showing this like blue footage of her fucking this dude.
It's so like two things. One, he gets a call again. And so like with the two girls at the winter party, he's interrupted.
Yeah.
By a woman, ODing. And then again, he's interrupted by his wife this time.
Yeah.
It's a constant cycle of him constantly being interrupted by a woman.
Yes.
Which I don't know what to do with that information, but it was just something that I noticed on this most recent rewatch.
Well, and that's like Steve Martin would make a comment like, wow, I'm glad that he'd make some clever comment about like that phone needs to stop or something like that.
Yeah.
His buddy Nick Nightingale, who we saw at Ziegler's party, is playing at the Sonata Cafe. He happens to be walking by. He goes to check it out.
And again, it's like one of those dream things where it's like you leave here. We don't really see what you do. Your wife called you, and then immediately you happen upon another place of interest very quickly.
Yes. And it looks like a dope-ass little jazz cafe.
Oh, yeah.
And he does the big dick move, which I've never done in a bar because it would never work. It would piss off every bartender or server where he says, I'll have a beer.
I think I've done that before.
To me, as someone who used to do a lot of bartending, I'm like, well, what fucking beer do you want?
Yeah.
Because I just know assholes. I guess at that kind of place, though, you could just get away with it. Like a jazz cafe, kind of upscale.
You're getting a Stella.
Yeah.
At a jazz cafe, you're getting a Stella.
Yeah, here's a local craft lager is what I would throw their way.
If someone came up to me and I was bartending at a bar that had a bunch of beer, and they said, give me a beer, I'm giving you a Hoegaarden, because I fucking hate Hoegaarden.
Here's it's a sour stout. You're going to hate it.
Sorry.
Just a nice drinkable beer.
Here is a 16-ounce barrel-aged sour stout. It's 27% alcohol
It's
by volume.
27%.
Enjoy your beer, motherfucker.
Here's a $30 tab, bitch. He learns of a party at a mansion where Nick plays blindfolded and is told he needs to have a mask and a cape.
So,
and a cloak.
The other thing I noticed too is the idea of like dream fantasy going through this, right? So his wife tells him that she had desires for somebody else.
Yeah.
Very innocent, honestly, absolutely innocent compared to what Bill does for the rest of the film.
He is out of line immediately.
Yes.
Yes.
Basic sex with a prostitute. That's square one. So fantasy wise, it's just a different woman at this point.
Yeah.
And he's not even going in there to like do a bunch of weird butt stuff. It's literally the fact that this woman is easily
I
obtainable.
want to lick that booty hole.
And it's not my
I'll
wife.
pay you.
And then as we go further down the rabbit hole, the fantasy gets darker. The amount of participants and the sex acts being provided get, I wouldn't necessarily say darker because I'm not trying to kink shame anybody, but more overtly
It's
intense.
like assault territory, dominance territory. It quickly is going to evolve or devolve into a situation where it's no longer about his journey into his like psychosexual life, but it's getting to the problems of like society at large and money and power and the ruling class and how they dominate those below them. And we're almost there. But first he has to go to the weirdest, funniest scene in the movie. He tries to go to a previous client who owns a costume shop and he doesn't live here anymore.
Did you realize what the name of the costume shop was?
What was it?
It's Rainbow.
Oh, yes.
And the models at the beginning say, "Don't you want us to take you to the end of the rainbow?"
Yes. The rainbow and the Christmas lights are kind of like an ongoing theme for the film. At one point he turns the Christmas lights off and that's kind of when the dream logic ends.
Yeah, because in a dream logic, you're going to take something you just heard in your normal life and it will appear in your dream. It's just recalling from short-term memory.
Dude, the fucking scene in the costume shop is so funny. What is it? Sorry, good doctor, sorry. What is it? Just the most comedic Russian performance you've ever seen.
We're getting into Uncanny Valley, too, with the level of acting versus, like, how overtly obvious it is that this could be a dream sequence.
Doctor, sorry to keep you waiting. And you depraved creature. It's so obscene. His performance is just back and forth. We were invited here by the young lady. Nope, I lock you up. Calling the police. Do you want a cape?
He's just back and forth.
Yeah. It's funny, too. Like, when he doesn't return the mask later, the rental is like $800 plus the mask, $20 because he doesn't return the mask.
Plus the mask.
Just go buy your own shit. But he takes a taxi out to the orgy mansion.
Bold move.
It's a bold move.
You want to arrive in a limousine. If you can't afford a limousine, a nice Range Rover or a Mercedes would probably, or a Bentley.
You're not taking a minivan from Uber.
No, that's going to be bad. It's going to be a bad look. And he doesn't even show up with anything. And everybody knows that the first rule of any orgy is you bring snacks.
Yeah. People
are going to get hungry. You know how many calories you burn in an orgy?
Where's my pretzels?
Yeah. At least it doesn't have to be a crock pot. Somebody else is going to do the buffalo chicken dip. Just bring the pretzels. Bring the salsa.
So this orgy is a little weird.
This is my favorite part of the entire movie.
It's very hypnotic.
It's got, honest to God, we'll get to it in a second, but one of the best shots, the series of shots I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
I sat up on my couch yesterday.
Is it where it's like the tracking shot through?
No, it's just the shots of the different masks.
Oh, yeah.
When he's like doing the passwords. And it's just like the lighting is perfect. Each emotion on the mask is like almost perfect because it's like someone's like, oh, he doesn't know. And then the next one is like a creepy laugh. Like you can see it's so good.
There's mystery and power.
It's so creepy.
And fear. Well, this is the reason they're wearing masks is to hide their identities. These are the most powerful, the most elite politicians, billionaires, just the filthy rich.
There's also the kind of misconception that it can't be infidelity if no one knows who it was.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler.
If you're going to cheat on your spouse, but no one knows it was you, and you're wearing the mask, then you never cheated on your spouse.
I think you did.
You absolutely did, but no one can prove that.
Then why's my butt hurt?
Yeah. Why are you walking funny today?
I was wearing a mask.
I was wearing a mask. No, but the rich can't be afforded to be seen in this way.
Yeah.
So they're protecting their seat, their powerful seat.
So Bill's taking a walk around the orgy and
just a jaunt about the orgy.
It's like, this room looks fun. Oh no, not that. Okay. It's and that fucking super hypnotic music that's playing. But eventually he runs into a woman who seems to know him, and she says, "You should not be here."
But she does it in the dopest fucking way possible, because they're both wearing their masks, and it looks like she's going in for a kiss with the mask on, but they're talking. And I was just like, that is the coolest little fucking idea I've seen in a minute.
Well, he was about to get it on with another lady before the other woman saves him. And the woman who does end up saving him, it's believed to be Mandy. It probably is Mandy, but it's not played by the same actress.
Do you know what happened in film school when we saw the scene? When he gets saved by the woman on the balcony?
Your film teacher had a boner?
No, the guy next to me probably did. But he was like, "It's Nicole Kidman. It's his wife. I bet you any money."
That's just the stupidest thing.
And we all were like, "I don't really think so, man." And he's like, "No, it's the wife." And then the only reason that he didn't believe it is because the guy sitting on the other side of him was like, "That's his wife. He'd recognize them titties." He's like, "Yeah, you're right." And I was like, "Guys, that's your logic? That's how you disarmed him just now?"
The interview I listened to today with the choreographer, she was the one who like cast all of the women for the roles and did like a lot of the designing for how they move and stuff. And she's like, and I brought all of these like beautiful, beautiful women, different body types, but like all just gorgeous women. And she's like, Stanley only wanted like the like super skinny, like tall women. And she's like, I don't know if that upset me or I was like thinking that's sexist, but it's definitely like Nicole Kidman's body type. So maybe there's reasoning behind it. I think the fact that he went for like that Barbie doll look is, it's representing an objectification of women.
Yep, that, and I think
it's what was considered desirable at the time.
And in the novella, I can never remember the names, but the main character, the
Fridolin,
yeah, he has a line in that says that perhaps his wife was the eye of his beholding the entire time, noticing that a lot of these women that he's running into are reminding him of his wife. And I think that's something that Kubrick carried over into this, which might explain the casting for the women in it.
I can just tell you, every single time I've watched this orgy scene stoned, I get fucking just so scared inside.
I took an edible before I watched it last night, and that was a mistake.
Well, and they're like, they bring him to the center of the room, and that's when they cut to all of those masks, and he's in it. Like, everyone's looking at him. He has no way out. Dr. Bill can't Dr. Bill his way out of this one. What is the password? Fidelio. Well, what about the password for the house? I don't know it.
Dun, dun, dun,
Meanwhile, his buddy's back there shredding the music. It's like, oh, I'm gonna die tonight. He's doing the music for like his friend Bill being caught, and he's so scared he doesn't stop playing the music, which is kind of interesting.
No,
take off your mask. Like, that is scary enough.
Yeah, in
a room of masked people to take off your mask, and he's stripped completely bare. He has no artifice. He is just a man who's lost, scared, and confused. No securities. And remove your clothes. I was like, oh. What's going to happen? This is bad. Boy, we're in a tight spot.
I mean, at this point, I definitely felt like he had finally his ego at this point has entirely crumbled. Like you are, like you said, stripped away of everything. Your face now is out there. Like your identity for people that don't know you, or you don't know them. You can't tell, who's going to be following you about town. Like you are stripped of everything at this point.
Yeah.
The lowest that I think he can possibly get at the end of this like tangling sexual fantasy that just keeps getting darker and darker and darker, all because he's chasing something that was essentially born out of an argument with his wife over a joint.
And what happened was he had all of the security and benefits of a loving monogamous relationship, and he steps out of that and discovers the world is much more dangerous and less safe than he could have stayed at home, and he might not have gotten pegged.
Yeah.
But he almost did. Well, and then the lady, I will redeem him. Fun fact, that's Cate Blanchett's voice.
Really?
Yeah, that was revealed not too long ago, actually.
Oh, man. I wonder how Dylan feels about that.
Now he wants to watch Eyes Wide Shut again.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch that.
He gets out of the party saying, and she's like, I'm going to redeem him. And then Red Mask, that's the name of the guy, is like, do you know what that means? And she's like, yeah.
It's also...
And then Tom Cruise tries to play a fucking card, and he's like, what's going to happen to her? And he's like, no.
No, yeah, you get the fuck out.
He puts a big finger up, and he's like, if you say anything, there will be the most dire of consequences. And if I'm in a fucking room full of masked people, and they almost made me get naked, and they say there's going to be a room full of dire consequences, I fucking stop. I move and change my name.
Yeah, I shave my head.
Yeah.
I'm shaving my head immediately.
I shave my balls.
Yeah.
What if I have to get naked later?
I got to look good.
I got to look good.
Yeah. No, that plus like the odd, like it's almost like, I wasn't Catholic at all, but they have those little swinging smoke lanterns, don't they? That's Catholicism, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It has got a little bit of a religious kind of undertone to it too that makes it even more creepy, and it kind of gives it the cult-like vibe, I think. Whereas if they didn't have all that, it would just be like a masquerade of like super horny orgy people. And I think it's that little bit of religious undertone that makes it kind of culty, that gives it that little bit of fear too.
It's any sufficiently like elevated tier of society, like it's Epstein Island. It's like that level of power and dominance to where they will make people disappear. They will make whatever they want happen. And that's terrifying. And he should have fucking stopped. Tom Cruise, Dr. Bill Harford, not Tom Cruise. When he gets home, he talks with his wife, and she's having a dream, and she just had a dream that she was fucking tons of men. It's a dream. Sometimes I dream about repairing a go-kart with an old boss at a pizza place. That doesn't mean I want to do that.
I have a dream where my dad is Batman and he tries to kill me.
Do you think it's true? I think it is true.
I'm Mario. Like
in the dream?
Yeah. We're building Legos and I accidentally press the Lego too hard and I break the whole spaceship.
Yeah.
And then he loses his fucking mind and he chases me throughout the city trying to kill me. I've explained the dream to my dad multiple times, and as an adult man, it's still the scariest thing that happens to me on like once a year.
Yeah, but it's a dream. It's a dream, though. And she just expresses a dream, her emotions, with her partner that she's faithful to. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go out there and try and fuck again now. Thanks a lot. Well, meanwhile, he's not honest about anything. I just survived the orgy from hell. But no, he's not ready to talk yet.
And we don't see her adventure. We're following Bill here. Well, yeah. Like, she goes from saying that she had like a passing desire for a man, like the most innocent of like basic shit that you could say.
Yeah.
To
I am a human that felt feelings of lust uncontrollably one time.
Yes. And then you fast forward, it's the same way that like his sexual roller coaster that he's on is devolving into darker material. She's like in a gangbang Like she's fucking multiple dudes
in a dream.
But it's the same, like they're on the same trajectory. We're just watching his dream.
Well, yeah, it's real and it's a dream.
Yes,
it's a movie, right? And she just has a dream. Meanwhile, like he gets a prostitute killed.
Not the same.
It's not the same.
One is objectively worse.
The next day, he goes to return the costume, and Milich is ready to whore out his daughter. He's like, we made financial agreement. If you would like anything. And it's Lily Sobieski, and at the time, she looks like she's 12.
She looks like a child.
It's very off-putting, scary. He tries to call Marion, the girl whose dad died, and her husband picks up. That's low.
That's low.
Yes. And he goes to Domino's place, tries to bring her like a cake.
Yeah, I know. I never thought to bring a cake to a prostitute. I'm sure they might enjoy that.
To the prostitute you paid $500 and didn't have sex with.
She would much rather not work for the $500 and you just gave for $500. I don't think she needs the cake.
It's interesting. She told her roommate that Dr. Bill paid her $500 and they had great sex.
Oh.
She couldn't even say, like, we didn't even have sex. I don't know why that matters to her, but she also found out she had syphilis the next... AIDS the next
HIV,
day.
yeah.
And... Because he's ready to just bang her roommate. He more confidently makes a move.
This is him.
Daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the most sexually confident he is as he started this journey.
He's ready to go there.
Yeah, and his body language changed. He's much more relaxed, sitting back in the chair, and then like
once you almost die and get your dick cut off, possibly.
I'm gonna feel like on top of the world the next day if I survive that.
He's gonna put that anywhere he can.
Yes, because you never know when you're gonna lose it. You came this close last night.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's definitely more confident in this scene, and I audibly chuckled when she's like, "I found out I'm HIV positive," and I'm like, "Oh, holy shit, dude!"
And like, you're sitting there, you're Neo in the Matrix, dodging bullets, like you're almost getting killed, you're almost getting AIDS, all of these things that you're narrowly avoiding, and and at this point, he's trying to find answers about the party because he reads in the newspaper. Well, first he goes to the hotel to see if Nick's there, and Alan Cumming as the flirtiest, gayest hotel clerk ever. Big, strong guys. They come in. Dr. Bill. And he is just lusting. But Nick showed up late at the hotel, looked kind of bruised, and there was two strong men, and they checked him out for him and said any mail will be picked up by those authorized to do so. So Nick might be dead.
Yeah.
Probably is. And then he sees in the newspaper that there's an overdose for Mandy, who he assumes is the same lady who it is. Confirmed by Ziegler, she's dead. He tries to go out to the mansion like a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, and then, so you almost get your dick cut off by a bunch of orgy goers, and then you go back and they just hand you a piece of paper that essentially says, like, last chance, fancy pants, fuck off.
I wrote down the letter because it's stunning. So this old guy just walks up and he like angrily puts the letter. And it is angry, but the formatting of the letter, it's one paragraph centered in the page, which is just weird enough to open up.
And it's perfectly trifolded too. It's like the paragraph is exactly 1/3 of the page.
Give up your inquiries, which are completely useless, and consider these words a second warning. We hope for your own good that this will be sufficient.
And this is not...
I remember watching that with my buddy. He's like, dude, that fucking goes hard. Give up your inquiries, which are completely useless.
And that's a common like tactic that you see in a lot of pop culture and stuff about
American politicians.
Like, don't look at me because what you're looking at, it's wrong. It's not true, but stop looking.
And also, you can't do anything about what we're doing. And for your own good, you need to stop.
Well, and it's when he finds out that Mandy overdosed the second time and she's dead, and he's talking to the doctor or to Ziegler. Yeah. Ziegler kind of threatens him too. Then at that point,
it's layers. At first, they're very friendly,
but he doesn't want the info getting out.
And Bill keeps pushing back, and then it just elevates and elevates to like outright threats.
Yeah, because he like puts his hands on him and he's like, hey, people die all the time, right? But you know that.
You know that. I'll tell you what happened. She got her brains fucked out, and then she overdosed. Nick's probably fucking Mrs. Nick, and he's like, yeah, people die. It's like, you don't want to know who was at that party, but it would shock you to know who some of those people were.
Yeah.
That's a very long scene, and yeah, he's in over his head, and I think that at this point, I think he's ready for his odyssey to end. He didn't get any answers. He didn't get laid. He almost got killed. He got other people killed.
Yeah.
All to discover the world sucks. And if you have a nice little family thing at home, you can wear your Ugg boots around the house and just drink a beer. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You got Ugg boots at home.
Stop going for Ugg boots out in the city.
Yeah. You already got Ugg boots at home, man. Shit.
So the last time I watched this movie, I was a single man. The second time I watched this movie, I was a single man. But I had a very important thing happen to me in between these two watches, and that was a divorce.
Yeah.
And not that I had a bad divorce. My divorce was actually very clean and a very pleasant experience, as much as a divorce can be. We were both adults in the scenario, so I'm lucky in that aspect. But watching it after being in a very long-term relationship and married, not that I am anymore, this movie hit a lot harder, especially with the small little details, especially the argument at the beginning.
Yeah. And it's what really hits to me is just how much he is taking things for granted.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
All he has to do is just quit. He's wearing a mask. He's just playing doctor. He is approaching all situations with his like rehearsed responses, with his like doctor bedside manner. You got Nicole Kidman taking a piss behind you saying, "How does my hair look?" and you don't turn around. My dude,
What are you doing?
what are you doing? Not that her pissing makes a difference, but it's intimate.
Oh, yeah. It's just one of those things couples who are comfortable with each other will do.
Yeah.
It shows a level of their comfort with each other.
I just didn't want to make it sound like I'm like into piss.
You were really close.
It almost sounded like
you were
that.
really close to it, but I think you justified it well enough.
I mean, that's what he should have asked Domino for. Like, what do you want? Dr. Bill's like, I want piss.
Will you pee on me?
I want you to fart on a cake.
Just fart on a cake.
Cake farts.
Oh. I think this is such a good movie because there's so much. I mean, it's just Kubrick being Kubrick because you can apply so much of like what you think is going on to it. It's not just like a lot of movies are just like open ended at the end.
Yeah.
Like you have certain things that you know for sure happened. This movie always kind of reminded me of American Psycho, where like you don't know quite what the reality of the scenario is.
Yeah,
and you can kind of choose. Everybody can choose which parts of the film they're like, well, that's got to happen, right? Like that's got to be, and that's got to be real life.
We should do the American Psycho movies.
I know there's two.
Well, I know, but I've never seen the second one. The first one is a classic. The second one stars Mila Kunis.
Yeah, I own the first one.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do.
But this movie also tackles, I think it tackles a very basic relationship, a very basic problem with relationships in that monogamy can become monotony. And you have...
Tagline much.
I know, I'm good at this.
Yeah.
But you have two people who obviously love each other because of the way the film plays out, and neither, like, despite what he tries to do, he's never able to fully do it.
Yeah.
The universe is stopping him, or he doesn't have his head in the game.
It's his dream odyssey to rediscover himself and why this monogamous marriage is a good thing.
Yeah, because when you tie your value into your status or what other people believe of you, it's really ultimately when his wife is like, yeah, I thought this one guy was hot one time. That cracks his world. And you should realize where your value truly is in that moment.
When we watched Saltburn and Carly's like, that's my celebrity crush, I was like, I gotta accept this.
Yeah, and that's it.
And what I did is I went on an odyssey, and then this prostitute farted on a cake in front of me. I drank her piss. Some dudes at a mansion tried to peg me. And I was like, I'm going home.
You know what? I think I've had enough of this.
I've had enough of this whole party thing. Yeah, let's just watch TV show on the couch.
Let's go home.
But, Bill's just going through life and taking her for granted. And I think it's just a stunningly shot, well acted, intense film that just showcases the struggles of a relationship, of being intimate with someone, and to be secure in yourself, and to admit there's faults, admit that you're a fragile human being. That's the point of having a partner, is someone you can share those emotions with. Instead, he almost so many things.
And he almost torpedoes the whole thing.
It sounds fun going to a Russian costume shop and seeing two Asian dudes try and have sex with a 12-year-old. It sounds funny, but that sounds really bad. I could have been in bed at 9 o'clock, and instead it's 2 a.m. and I'm out in New York City. Marriage is cool, And well, he comes home and the mask is sitting on his pillow, and to me, it's not clear if she found it and set it there or that was a threat to him, because he couldn't find the mask in the morning. So I don't know if she put it there or that was someone who's in their house and put it there as a threat. It's not explained either way. How did you read that?
I also kind of thought that maybe it was that the mask is not there, that he's seeing the mask there as it's the mask that he wore with her. Yeah. Because she's sleeping comfortably and soundly, and she's rolled onto her side, facing the mask.
Yeah.
As if he would be in bed, and she might have her arm over him.
Yeah.
I kind of viewed it as well, he's kind of stripped down who he is now. Yeah. He's had to face his own value and psyche, and then seeing that as that's the mask I wore. It's the mask I wear with her
his entire life.
Yeah,
and she's there,
and she's comfortable with it.
Yeah,
and it's I don't know, the idea of what his identity really is.
They stay up all night. He explains he saw a woman fart in a cake, and she's bawling her eyes out.
Yeah, she's so sad.
She spent the whole night crying and smoking cigarettes.
What pisses me off, though, is the whole fucking conversation of what happened. Because we talk about this movie being a dreamscape and what's true and what's not, what really happened, what didn't. And you can get in the weeds with it. And then when he tells her what happened, it happens entirely off screen.
It's the morning after.
I know, but
it's waking up from a dream.
Yeah, but you don't see it.
I don't want to see all that, dude.
Oh man, yeah, that cut though to her just
although it would be a fucking tight montage, and then this Russian dude, and there was this 12-year-old.
And then I got a cape. And then I went in a taxi to a giant garden house with a bunch of people who were dancing with naked people. I saw a lot of boobies.
I almost got AIDS.
I almost got AIDS. My dick almost got cut off.
This hotel clerk, I think he wanted to fuck me.
I think I tried to fuck somebody whose father just died.
The prostitute's dead.
And the prostitute is dead too.
Ziegler, not a good dude.
No, he threatened me.
So they talk it out, and she has put up with a lot at this point. She's
put up with too much.
She's been nothing but a loving, faithful, caring wife. She did have that moment with Sandra Chavos at the beginning, but she didn't cheat. To me, you guys are just flirting with disaster getting that far.
Yeah.
Go to a party, hang out with your significant other. That's what you do. You don't go find someone else to dance with.
And it's also
but she was kind of pushed away, I think, by Bill ignoring her all the time.
And it's almost I just realized too, with you saying that, it's the female and the male gaze, or the desire, sexual fantasy, that if you polled every woman and every man, you might find that women just direct, the way that he's treating her in the dance, the direct connection, I am focused on you and only you, you are all I want. And then you flip to Tom Cruise, and he's over there with two baddies, and he's about to go have a threesome. And it's the different dichotomies and what sexual desires is based for a man and a woman to have.
Two chicks at the same time.
What would you do?
And she just, she wants an older man to approve, love her, approve her, talks to her about her art gallery, has an interest in her life, and tells her how beautiful she is constantly.
Watch me when I pee.
Unbroken eye contact while she pees.
Yes.
And Tom Cruise is just too young models just like desperate to bang him.
Yeah.
They go Christmas shopping for their daughter, and then he's like, so what now? And she says, well, no one night can define an entire relationship, whether it's real. And then Bill says, or a dream. It's like, don't you try and make it sound like her having a dream is equal to what you fucking did.
Yeah.
You monster. But great ending to the film. What is it we should do now? When she's like, don't say forever. Forever scares me. Live day by day. Just love and respect each other. And he says, what should we do now? And she says, fuck. And that's true. They need to just go home and have a good fuck about it.
Yeah. It's the, what is it? After you have a fight, not breakup sex. It's the
makeup sex.
The makeup sex. Yes. Yeah.
It's where I wear makeup.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you pee, then someone gets peed on, apparently.
Then I pee on the cake.
I pee on the cake, yes.
And then fart on it.
No, it's also, I don't know, that the end of the film, having that conversation, and like what you said, like when he's like even a dream. I think at first I realized, I thought that like that just is implying that he's starting to believe that what happened to him wasn't real either. But you are, I think, entirely correct that he's also trying to validate what he did is just as bad as what she did.
When really she did nothing bad.
Yes. And I think dreams can kind of fuck you up a little bit. I think if you have a dream that's impactful enough, it might change the way that you live your life. And maybe he needed to experience this and break their relationship down to the ground level to rebuild it back up, knowing that like the price that you could pay for what you're about to lose. And their conversation seems like it seemed like this borderline divorce conversation, like where like you can both, when she says forever scares me.
When he doesn't know, like he's asking what now, he doesn't know if she's going to forgive him.
It's a very scary conversation. And like, I mean, I'm not going to harp too much on my own self and my past relationships, but the conversation of like when you talk to somebody like, are we getting divorced? That's a scary conversation to go into. And for a split second here, I had like almost that same feeling for these characters in this scene. Like you don't know if you're about to witness the end of it.
Yeah.
And it hit way harder than the first time I saw it, but it's so well done.
And what's the answer to all of our problems? Just sex. Like, and it's not the right answer. It's not the perfect answer, but it's the best answer we got. They see each other now, at least. And after almost getting AIDS and going to sex orgies with billionaires, I think he will prefer to just wear his Ugg boots at home.
Yeah.
This has been sponsored by Ugg boots.
Proud sponsor of the podcast.
They Ugg, but they ain't ugly.
No, just ask Tom Brady.
Put him on. Oh, never mind. Tom Brady. Let's rank this puppy.
This is a good one. I feel like it's going to land towards the top. Yeah, no, this was weird because I mostly just watch movies for fun now, and this one kind of had me in my feels a little bit.
This is a movie.
Yeah, my emotional connection to this movie was odd. I normally don't have that. Last time I experienced that was Long Legs.
Okay, we're going to start at the bottom.
I'm just kidding.
We're going to start at the very bottom of the list for this one. Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, or Eyes Wide Shut.
They're essentially the same movie.
It's almost the same movie. I'm going to probably go Eyes Wide Shut.
It's a tough one. I don't think I agree.
Okay, we're going to jump up here a little bit. Evil Dead.
Which one?
OG.
The OG?
Or Eyes Wide Shut.
I go Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut. Evil Dead 2013 or Eyes Wide Shut.
See, now that's tough, and I knew you were going to do that to me next.
I'm giving that to you because I could have skipped up higher, and I know it would have done better. I'm trying to be fair.
I know, and as much as I love Evil Dead 2013, I think Eyes Wide Shut is a far better film.
It's just a better film.
It is.
The Killer or Eyes Wide Shut?
Eyes Wide Shut.
That's closer for me. Still Eyes Wide Shut.
Really? You really like The Killer that much,
The Killer's a very good movie.
It was good. Maybe I need to rewatch it.
Raiders of the Lost Ark or Eyes Wide Shut?
Eyes Wide Shut. Wait, Raiders is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'm still going to go Eyes Wide Shut just solely for the mask shots. The mask shots leading up to the girl on the balcony is just pure art. Whew.
I'm going Eyes Wide Shut. That's tough.
That's tough.
Hateful Eight or Eyes Wide Shut?
Now, see, this is one that's easy for me because I don't think the Hateful Eight should be this high.
I'm going Hateful Eight.
I'm going Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors. We'll go 1, 2, 3, shoot, and you say it out loud.
Wait, are we saying shoot or
No, 1, 2, 3,
and then say what you do?
1, 2, 3, scissors.
Fuck.
So it is number 6 on our list.
That's about as high as I thought it was going to get.
Otherwise, yeah. So right now it's The Shining, Inglourious Bastards, The Thing, No Country for Old Men, Hateful Eight, Eyes Wide Shut, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Django Unchained.
I think that's appropriate because if it had beaten the Hateful Eight, I wouldn't have had it beat any of the other films that preceded that.
Yeah. I could talk a lot more about this film and all of Kubrick's in general.
It's cool to see a late 90s, early 2000s Kubrick film. This
is the only one.
I know, because it feels... I mean, I guess I'm just so used to watching his earlier films and like even Full Metal Jacket. You said 88, 89?
89.
It's different. And that's a period piece too that takes place around Vietnam. So it's like weird seeing something that's like as close as we're going to get to present day for Kubrick.
Yep. My favorite filmmaker, and he died 6 months before the year 2000. That would have been too much for him if he had the internet at his fingertips. I think it's okay. He would have blown up. I don't have much else to say about this film. As far as Kubrick films, I will just say my favorite is Barry Lyndon, then 2001: A Space Odyssey, then The Shining, then Eyes Wide Shut, maybe.
I think I put Eyes Wide Shut at 3 because I got The Shining and A Space Odyssey before that.
Yeah. Yep. Barry Lyndon's the best, though.
I really like The Shining.
And that's all we have for you today on Popcorn Dogs. Now, if you've listened this far, you have great taste, which means you should write a review for us. Tell your friends anything you can do to support us. If you want access to something like 10 more bonus episodes immediately, you can do so. That's just for Popcorn Dogs. You'd also get all of Elden Dogs, our Elden Ring podcast. You'd get tons of exclusive Raw Dogs, our video game deep dive podcast, as well as a lot of other bonus content. You can do so at patreon.com/HairTheDogcast. And special thanks to executive producers. We have Brian Ward, Ryan Christianek, Kip Kipper, Phil Wright, Jordan Hoff, Kelly Gutowski, Bryant Ross, Phil Just, Red Bear Phil, thanks Tyler, Justin Melly, Christian Nielsen, Just Sonic, and Horny Jim.
Horny Jim.
Horny Jim. We appreciate your support. I don't know what's next on Popcorn Dogs. Elden Dogs. I think we're at Cerulean Coast for the next episode on the main feed. But if we're way past that on the Patreon, Raw Dogs, our next episode is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog's 1 through 3 plus Knuckles plus Sonic Mania-ish. And check that out. Otherwise, we'll be back sometime soon. Don't go to weird orgies. Just put those Ugg boots on and stay home.
Yeah, put on your Uggs, smoke a J with your wife and chill.
Get naked, but keep the Ugg boots on.
The Ugg boots stay on.
They stay on. Thanks, everyone.